What's up guys, Chris here. Based off my previous video, even though I posted up a deck profile about Necros, so a lot of people have been asking me about theories on how to play World Chalice and everything. So I thought instead of making a combo video, which most of you want, I mean there's so many combo videos out there, you guys can just suss it out. I thought I would talk about something a little bit more different than what a regular content would be. So I think I'll talk about how to successfully play World Chalice, because the deck is very explosive but also very susceptible to interruptions. So I think the key note to take home today is how to play around hand traps or interruptions, whichever you want to view it. So I thought maybe I'll start off with like the most basic hand that you can get. And this is probably one of the most powerful hands you can probably have, because it's just a 2-card combo which gives you a lot of plays, and there are many avenues you can go around. So I thought I'll talk about maybe just these 2 cards, and particularly how people can interact with you and what route you should be taking, or maybe you can consider what route you want to take. So without making this video any longer, let's talk about what we can do. So I'm going to draw out the 6 interruptions that we have right now in this current format, which is basically hand traps if you're going, because this deck goes first. So the first one we want to talk about definitely would be Ash Blossom. The second one we want to talk about would be Ghost Ogre. Third one would of course be Winter Cherries, the Sisters, and then the fourth one we talk about Gamma, and then next one would be Vela, and the last one of course is Drone Lockbird. So these are the 6 interruptions that any deck can possibly have, and it will usually be a combination of maybe Ash and Ogre, Ash and Reaper, Gamma, Ash and Vela, Ogre and Velas, and stuff like that. So we want to go through what is the most effective way of playing out this hand, which is Venus and World Legacy World Chalice, because just a snapshot of what this can give you is the first part of the combo would definitely give you Saryuja with 2 summons from World Legacy World Chalice, which then extend your plays. So without further ado, let's talk about Ash Blossom. So when we talk about Ash Blossom here, the only really thing you need to be scared about Ash Blossom here is either it hitting your Saryuja or hitting your World Legacy World Chalice in this hand. There are many ways you can go around doing it, but these are the 2 things you need to keep in mind when you are dealing with Mrs. Forehead here, which is Ash Blossom. Ghost Ogre. In particular, Ghost Ogre, the most crucial place where they should drop Ghost Ogre is usually Venus, because this hurts your deck completely. Maybe the second one you can also be wary about would be the Saryuja. Winter Cherries, of course this is probably the most applicable one throughout the whole World Chalice deck, because the whole deck's based off Link Summoning. So Saryuja can be hit, Ningirsu can be hit, Imduk can be hit. I've actually seen people citing this card, and this is actually pretty devastating, but it's rarely ever gonna happen, so I put it like on the 3rd most important list. But these 2 usually people play it, so it'll be easier to hit. With Gamma, you want to be worried about it hitting your Venus, your World Legacy World Chalice, and your Saryuja. Effect Veiler is probably the most painful one, because if it hits Venus, you probably lose. You can also hit Saryuja, because you can't chain block it. And last but not least, Droll and Lock, but this is probably only ever going to be truth on Saryuja. Alright, so now that we have devised these 6 interruptions and where it probably will hurt you the most, so this is how you can play around hand traps, you know. So just by looking at this hand, of course we still have 3 more cards to talk about. So Venus, this is obviously going to be our starting play. If you have any other extender, you'll probably want to play that first, like Unexpected Die, Emergency Teleport, stuff like that. But we know that we always want to get Agent of Creation Venus to go off. So the only really thing here you need to be worried about is Ogre and Veiler. Now, based off this, we can say you are most likely going to be hit by Venus. You're less likely to be hit by Effect Veiler unless people are maining it. But usually in the side, this is probably what you need to be worried about sometimes. Or maybe Gamma. Gamma rarely is going to happen because I think it's getting favored out of the meta. Or maybe it can be in favor at the moment just because Called by the Grave is now back live. And literally there's no ways of playing around Gamma and playing around Venus. With Ghost Ogre, you can probably you still get your Mystical Shine Ball, and you can probably do your plays of that depending on what your hand is. Winter Cherries is probably something you really don't need to worry about. If the meta is not defined enough, this is usually not played, but if it does, your Saryuja will probably get hit, and they usually will need to drop this right before you make it, which is basically when you make an Imduck and you summon up World Legacy World Chalice, they'll probably drop this on you, and then you can probably just tailor play your game a whole different route if they ever drop this. Let's talk about Ash. So Ash, the only thing that you need to worry about here is whether you want your Saryuja or your World Legacy World Chalice to resolve. Because if you don't need the draw, because if your other 3 cards are pretty good and you don't need the Saryuja draw, you can chain block with World Legacy World Chalice. So you can make this chaining 1 and then this chaining this chaining 1 and then this chaining 2, so that this will be ashed and not World Legacy World Chalice. However, vice versa, if you really need the Saryuja draw over the World Legacy summons, you can always make Saryuja chaining 1 and World Legacy World Chalice chaining 2. With Drone and Lockbird, I mean, if people drop this on you, it's because this is just a countermeasure and they main deck it, so why not drop it? They hit your Saryuja play, I mean, that means that turn you're definitely not making Ningirsu to draw 3. You'd rather set up a board here. So this is probably the easiest way to navigate your plays. The most important thing to remember is which one of these 6 hand traps are probably going to be the most devastating to your hand. So let's just talk about just these 2 cards, and now let's just add an additional card here. Let's add Lee to the mix. So now you have Lee, Venus, and World Legacy World Chalice. We talk about Ash here. Both of these are going to be very safe. You're probably not going to get ashed if you do your chaining right. And the proper chaining would be chaining 1 Saryuja, chaining 2 World Legacy World Chalice, and chaining 3 Imduck, because you have to make Imduck to summon World Legacy World Chalice to begin with. With Ghost Ogre, this is probably something you don't have to worry about, because as the same rule applies with Ash Blossom. You do the chaining correctly, and the only thing that this will only hit would be Lee. Because they will have no other window to drop Ghost Ogre. Cherries, don't have to worry about that, because this is completely irrelevant. If they're going to drop it, they will drop it even before you drop the Lee to chain block. Gamma, same thing. If they hit the Venus, they will hit the Venus already. This is where they should probably hit it, but if they don't, I guess they're probably bad. You should win that game. Effect Veiler, they should drop it on Venus immediately after you pay 500. And with Drone and Lockbird, again, this is the only place they're going to drop Saryuja. That means your Lee's not going to get the surge. It's just most likely going to be extra bodies to link some. Now that we've talked about this, I hope you guys can finally slowly see why World Chalice is probably one of the best decks and also one of the most convoluted ones, because your whole hand is a sequence. You need to sequence all your cards correctly in order to play around these hand traps, and you need to think about which hand traps are probably going to be the most devastating to your hand. Of course, I'm not going to give you like a 5-card hand to show you, because I would like you guys to go have a think about it and open up a test hand of 5 cards and see what cards are probably the most relevant, because when you're playing a combo deck, you usually want to use anywhere between 2 to 3 cards maximum, and the other 2 cards should probably just be an interruption of a sort or an extender. So this is something I can just leave to you guys to figure out. Lastly, let's talk about a small combo here, how we can just play with just Lee, Venus and World Legacy World Chalice. The basic combo here would be to summon Lee, and then you summon out your 3 Shine Balls. We'll just put it like this. You of course you use the first Shine Ball, you make Imduck here. You use Imduck's effect, summon World Legacy World Chalice, and now you have 4 monsters here. This is where you actually go ahead and you make Saryuja. So you take all these 4 and you make Saryuja. Now this will be your graveyard, and of course with the other 2 Shine Balls here. Just put it at the back. Of course, now this is where you need to think. If you have the lead, like we said, you want to make this the last chain so that they cannot stop this card. And the only thing that will ever stop this is Gamma, which is probably redundant because you can get searches of summons of this, which you can summon lead to search. If not, you need to think about these 2 now. These are no longer your problem. Now, like I said, if you need the draws to fix your hand, you of course want to make Saryuja chaining 1. If you need the summons over the draw, you make this chaining 1. As simple as that. So from here, of course, the combos can go however way you want. If your hand is still not good enough of the Saryuja draw, you want to of course try to get to Ningirsu to draw another 2 more cards. And that's an entirely another different video if I so choose to make it, and if the responses are in the comments once more, I'll do that. But if not, you can always just from there, your hand should be good enough to set up, and usually you want to set up a couple of negations, and hopefully you draw into your hand traps to stop your opponent. And this is where the whole deck becomes very flexible afterwards. The first part of the combo, like I said, is always about drawing and then setting up as part 2. But because of the release of Saryuja, you're drawing a lot quicker, so you can always draw and draw again and then set up. That also entirely depends on how afraid of are you with hand traps. If you know how to play, if you know how to abuse chain links, that's probably the best way to do it. And we need to remember that Saryuja can always chain block Ningirsu now. You don't always have to summon a card out of the hand. As long as you can get 2 zones here, you should be fine. Because Ningirsu and Saryuja are both mandatory effects. You can form your chain order. But yeah, so that's about the video.